Just as a reminder, today we have Jeannie Lewis, Lindsay Adams, Kayla Pell, myself, and Anna Kimmelblatt, and maybe Elaine Browning will be joining us. But we are once again your Hazard Mitigation Plan Committee team. As we go through today, please let us know if you have any questions, comments, ideas. As always, we want you to utilize the chat, raise your hand, or unmute yourself to talk. This is a group effort, so there's no bad time for a question while we're going through everything today. Today probably won't be our longest meeting. We're gonna go through our survey results, both the public survey and the prioritization survey. We're going to quickly go through the remaining 13 mitigation actions and categorize those by community and which department's going to implement them, and then we will give you an update on the draft and the timeline. So let's go ahead and get started. Survey results, our public survey. We've gotten a lot of responses to this, 82 so far, but the survey is actually still open. So we as a reminder, this survey is essentially designed to gain public insight into preparedness for hazards. The survey is still live and collecting responses. The update that we're providing to you today is based on data as of April 3rd. Please continue forwarding the survey to your family, friends, and other contacts. We will continue collecting responses and incorporating those into the draft plan throughout April. We have a QR code that we can certainly send to whoever needs it, and you can pass that along to all of your contacts. The more responses we get to the survey, the better. So we have a pretty good spread so far. Most of our responders are coming from unincorporated Effingham County, but we do have some from Guyton, Rankin, and Springfield. It'd be great if we could get a few more responses from our Springfield crew and even the playing field just a little bit, but we're happy to see that we've got a diverse group of respondents to the survey. How prepared, the first question we asked was, how prepared do you feel for a hazard event? And generally, people seem to feel pretty prepared. There was about 20% that said they were not at all prepared. So that is who we will be targeting with public information in the future. We also asked, do you know how and where to get more information on hazard risk and emergency preparedness? And 37.8% people did not. So I think that shows that there's a little bit of room for improvement in regards to public information on hazard risk and emergency preparedness. And hopefully we're addressing that with the plan. The best way for everyone to receive information about hazard preparedness and mitigation actions was overwhelmingly via social media and text message, closely followed by email. This isn't super surprising in today's day and age. Social media and text seem to be the best way to get information out there. It was interesting to see that not a ton of people were using the website. So I think it's great that we have social media efforts that are ongoing. And I know when we were in Effingham County a couple weeks ago, we talked about getting a text 911 notification system started soon. So I think that's also a step in the right direction. But interesting insight here, and it should motivate all of us to push information via those two platforms. So then we asked an open-ended question: what hazards or problem areas would you like to see the Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee address? I didn't include all 82 responses, and there were some very interesting responses to this question, but I did gather the most common responses. And this is sort of a general idea of what people are thinking about in Effingham County. Overwhelmingly, people mentioned flooding and stormwater runoff, as well as development in the special flood hazard area. There were a lot of concerns about development in the floodplain and how that might impact flooding in the future. There was a lot of comments about train derailments. That's obviously a very relevant topic today. Hurricanes, chemical spills and environmental contamination, traffic and congestion in general. There were a lot of comments about people wanting warning sirens or tornado sirens. some concern about brush fires, and then lots of concern about the regular clearing of drainage ditches. But again, the two most common responses were flooding and development in the SFHA, which is Special Flood Hazard Area. So then we asked, which action category do you feel would contribute most to hazard mitigation and preparedness in the county? And they could select all that applied here. People were not very interested in structural projects such as levees or flood walls, and they were not very interested in property protection, such as acquisition or elevation. They seem to be more interested in emergency services types projects, public information projects, and preventative activities. And preventative activities, as a reminder, would be making changes via the zoning code, building code, or other type of regulatory ordinance. There were also, there was an option to add your own answer to this. So you can see that some people did generate their own response. So I know that the font is really small here, but I'm gonna call out a couple important things from this question. What hazards are you most concerned about today? And we provided different hazards, all the hazards that we're analyzing in the plan, and asked them to rank each hazard in terms of level of concern, ranging from low 1 to high 3. And this was an interesting bit of information because it seemed to sort of contradict the answers to the open-ended question, which were so that focus mostly on that flooding and development in the SFHA. When we looked here, there was pretty low concern about coastal hazards and inland flooding. So we found that a little bit interesting. And I think maybe citizens of Effingham don't always consider themselves coastal, but we definitely see y'all as a coastal county. The highest concern about hazards were hazardous material spills and environmental contamination, followed by cybersecurity. And then just to demonstrate again that we are collecting a diverse range of responses, we did ask people to identify via their age range, and we are getting a really good spread of different ages, different groups of people taking the survey. So we're happy to see that. So that's the public survey responses. Some interesting feedback we got from the public. Again, all this will be built into the plan. I'm going to throw it over to Lindsay real quick, and Lindsay's going to talk about the prioritization survey results.
Thanks, Anna. So I just wanted to start out by thanking everybody for taking the time to go through the survey. We got 10 responses, and I know it was a lot of time that had to be spent to do this, so we really appreciate you all going through it. So the information that we collected in the survey is really essential to help understand the importance of the actions for each of the jurisdictions in the county. The actions are going to be organized in the plan by priority. So we're going to have highest priority at the top and going to go down to lowest priority. That way, it'll be really easy for you all over the next 5 years to find different projects and mitigation actions and pursue the highest priority for each jurisdiction. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. That must just Anna must have some speaker problems, but all right, just wanted to make sure I wasn't talking to myself. Anyways, yeah, so this will really help you to have organized priorities, and you will be able to pursue the highest priority actions without putting in a lot of effort to find those. So all of the time that you spent filling out the survey in the past couple weeks will just be time saved in the future. So you're going to have them really well organized, easy to find what you're looking for. They are prioritized by jurisdiction, so it'll be easy for somebody from Guyton to look and figure out what their highest priority was. Somebody from unincorporated Effingham can find what their high priorities are. On the screen right now, we pulled up some of the highest priorities that you all selected. So you can see, looking at the screen, I just threw 8 of them on there. There were a lot of high priority actions, but the ones that are up here right now are some of the ones that the different jurisdictions deemed to be the most important to each of the communities. So we, again, kind of going off of what Anna had talked about, hazardous materials is a big topic. Tree preservation ordinances requiring tree plantings, developing drainage and stormwater management programs to increase retention, treatment, and quality of stormwater. So there was a lot kind of in that realm. So a lot about drainage, flooding, hazardous materials. Anna, can you jump to the next slide?
Yep.
Thanks. So we were able to track your prioritization scores by jurisdiction. So when you filled out the survey, there was a question to ask, like where you worked or where you lived. So we averaged the total scores for each of the jurisdictions, and the maximum that a question could receive was 30 points. So we averaged the total points that each question got by jurisdiction. You can see on here the results. So we broke the mitigation measures down into high, medium, and low priority. Low priority mitigation actions received a total average score for each jurisdiction of 10 to 15 points. A medium prioritization received a score of 16 to 25, and then a high received a score of 26 to 30. Based on these numbers, the charts on the screens right now show the percent of mitigation measures that were rated as either high, medium, or low. So as you can see, looking at this, the majority of the actions are rated as high or medium. We do have the option to modify the score range to spread it out a little bit. I mean, right now it's just the top, it's 26 to 30 points really is a high priority. And so it seems like a lot of people really thought the majority of these projects were a high priority, which is totally fine. I mean, you can have as many high priorities as you want. That's not going to change anything. You can still look through that and figure out, depending on what type of project you might want to go after, which one makes the most sense at a certain time. We do have the option to adjust it if you want to have it a little bit better distributed. So we'll be able to get feedback from that on the plan review team. So the folks in the county and the cities who will be reviewing it. If anybody has any feedback right now, if you want to just unmute and let us know if you think that we should adjust the scores in any way. So not hearing anything, I think we'll keep it the way it is for now. I think that when the plan's being reviewed, when folks are looking a little bit deeper at the actions and will be providing us feedback, we definitely have the option to update this. Next slide. I think that was all.
Yep. Okay. So we have 13 remaining action items that we need to categorize in regards to these two questions. Which municipality is this relevant to, and what department from that municipality will implement this action item? I'll just remind you, the more you unmute and participate, the quicker this will go. We've only got 13 to get through. So if you can keep these questions in the back of your mind, let's run through these remaining 13, and then we'll be wrapped on prioritizing action items. So the first one is to follow state recommendations for drought-related actions.
I mean, I think that's going to be all of them.
All right, and which department do you think?
I would think that would fall under code enforcement.
Okay. The next one is water withdrawal from the aquifer needs to be carefully regulated to prevent drawdown.
Well, I mean, this actually falls under EPD right now. All the allotments, which will be decreasing addition in the next several years.
Okay.
So would that be more communicating it, Clint? Do you think, like communicating drought restrictions? Or is this, do you think, getting at industry?
Well, I mean, EPD, it manages the withdrawal for anybody that has a permit.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, I mean,
So it's
relevant to
more
all
than
of them.
just like it's more than just protecting groundwater resources. It's specifically the permitted actions.
Hey, this is Chris with IT. I know everything south of 119 is in the red zone, and anything in that red zone has to be permitted, and they have a certain amount of gallons per minute or gallons per day that they're actually able to withdraw from the
Right.
aquifer. And so, from what I understand, the state is regulating that. State and possibly federal. But
So
yeah, that does go through EPD.
okay, so it sounds like this is maybe an action item at the state level.
Everything south of 119 definitely is at the state level.
Okay.
North of 119, they don't have any restrictions on it today, but that could come in the future.
So I think it should be like, I think this was in probably in, I mean, so Georgia EPD's regulated that previously, I would guess. Um, so I'm wondering if that's not like do we need some sort of statement instead about either communicating the importance of groundwater resources and the protection of groundwater resources, or do we just relegate this to a state level action and not have a local part?
I think the only thing that local we could look at would be, if there's any restrictions during, say, summer months or something, where we broadcast and say, hey, no watering on odd and even days or something like
Yeah,
that.
during drought. So like communicating the,
Right.
okay. Is everyone okay if that one is reworded to indicate like communicating any kind of um drought restrictions that may be at the state level, to communicating that to the local government, I mean to the the municipalities and the citizens. If we reword that one to be a communicate for public information.
Yeah, I think that would probably be
Yeah, I think
good.
that's fine.
That would work. Okay. Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Cool. Develop agreements for secondary water sources that may be used during drought conditions.
So this is the idea of like again like redundancy, like having the secondary systems that help us in the event.
This is Chris again. I know, like our primary water that we get, we purchase from the the I&D plant down in Savannah. But they're drawing water off of Abercorn Creek. I know when the drought gets bad enough that the salinity levels go up, and that restricts their water intake. So I know the county has looked at one of the large lakes that's in the county as a secondary water source. I'm not sure where they've got to with that, if that's even going to be possible to be used anymore.
Okay, so do we think it's maybe, Chris, ongoing?
Yeah, I would say
think it
that
is
would be,
ongoing.
I would call it ongoing.
yeah.
Through which department?
Um,
I would,
It was
would
on
say-
the engineering, but I know Eric's gone, so I'm not really sure kind of who's handling that. I know they were doing some remediation type work out there and some more studies with an outside contractor.
Is that on the pond project list? I don't know if
I'm not sure
always
how
knows.
they have it listed, to be honest with you.
Okay, maybe we'll
Hey.
hold off on that one then.
Yeah, it's definitely ongoing. I don't know if that's gonna fall at the end, fall into the engineering, or it'll definitely fall under general government, and then as far as acquiring the resources, but then final operations will fall under water, wastewater, I guess, or
Okay.
operations, but that's after the resources acquired.
All right.
Just jumping back to the last one really quick, is that would that be all, or is that something that is gonna be going through the county? So a county versus
County.
through the county.
That would be county.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Yeah.
All right, identify these resources through mapping the significant natural and environmental resources that exist along the river corridor and need to be protected from development. This is referencing those secondary water resources.
I think it should be reworded to say what these resources are as a standalone. Identify water resources, these water resources or secondary water resources.
Agreed.
I think I might, Anna, have like worked on that wording that need to be protected from development. See if I can find that.
Okay, so this would, since it goes along with the last one, be a county action and probably would go through whoever is handling the engineering again.
Yeah,
So
I think that's good choice.
Okay.
Sorry, Chris. So I was gonna say I had identified the secondary water supplies resources through mapping, the significant natural resources that exist along the river corridor and that may require additional protections from the impacts of development. Teresa's not on here, but like she was pretty sensitive to the way we were categorizing development. So I tried to get it at that way. So the last thing that exists along the river corridor and that may require additional protections from the impacts of development.
Yeah, I think that wording's safe enough to use.
Okay,
That sounds good.
thanks.
Great. Work with the EPA and Georgia EPD to classify the Ogeechee River as a scenic river.
We talked about that last time, right? And didn't we have one of the cities say that that was a high priority, that they were working on that? That was ongoing.
Imagine that would be Guyton. They're the one closest to the Ogeechee.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, thanks, Aaron.
Okay. So then this should be Guyton's development services, most likely. Guyton planning.
Well, you know, Guyton or county.
Okay. Address the need to remediate water pollution in rivers, streams, and ponds.
Springfield has that Ebenezer Greenway, and we have a treatment plant on, you know, Ebenezer Creek right now too. So I'm sure that's relevant for us.
Okay, great. That hopefully is relevant to everybody.
I'm a little curious about the remediate the water pollution though, because wouldn't it be like focusing on prohibiting water pollution? Because I'm not exactly sure how you what I just feel it's a little bit open ended.
Sure. We can work on rewording that.
Yeah, so there are all kinds of methods
protect from. I'm trying to figure out how to word this thing.
I don't know, I kind of
Mhm.
thought like that meant, hosting some cleanup days. I mean, water pollution as in, physical items, Parker's cups, for example, things like that.
Okay, I'm looking, yeah, I was looking more from the chemical aspect of things, but yeah, okay, if it's actually debris that can be picked up, I could see that.
Okay.
EOM has been pretty good about scheduling different cleanup days. I know we've helped them with a couple of those here in Effingham. I mean, in Springfield and Effingham.
So
Awesome.
in the bigger picture of stuff that then that water pollution reduction is like one of the primary, like just the way we have non-point source pollution from the number of roads, houses, businesses and stuff. And so it's thinking in a broad way of how we actually, what kind of steps are we taking? So if this, that is a little bit different. If it's, a more of a preventative action, the way we move forward, how we can take steps to remediate by, say, tree planting programs and stuff. So this could be a broader term. The cleanup days was a separate action.
I was gonna say, I think this may tie back into some of the MS4 stuff also, as
Yeah.
that area is expanded throughout the county, because I think that's
Right.
one of the check item or checklist items is identifying excess debris and trash and stuff within either the holding ponds or those drain outflows. Kristen may have
Right.
a little bit more information on that.
Yeah, I mean, a good part of that is a lot of the MS4, not only the cleanup and the education of that side of it for the county.
How about if we start with the verb reduce water pollution in rivers, streams, and ponds instead of need to remediate?
Yeah,
Something.
I think that would be better.
Okay. Great.
Alrighty. Minimum buffer standards for river corridors.
So I think on that one, what we talked about previously was applying the minimum buffer standards for river corridors under the protection of that one particular state law, the Mountain and River Corridor Protection Act, which gives the 100 feet on each side. And I think what we talked about previously was our thought was that first they got to show up in our mapping system. Pam, am I remembering that correctly?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah. I was thinking that on this one, when we talked about this before, that applying minimum buffer standards for river corridors, that really was related to the, like, so there a 25-foot buffer applies everywhere, right? In Georgia. So, but under the Mountain and River Corridor Protection Act, rivers that have significant flows have a 100-foot buffer on there to protect those waters, an additional protection. But that only applies in the one area where there's a large enough outflow. So I think what we talked about, Pam, was like showing those river corridors and the mapping system so that staff even knew to apply, like planning staff knew to apply the 100-foot buffers in those areas.
Right, and I kind of wonder also if that would be a good thing to put, they're revising the future land use map, if it would be helpful to put that on there.
That's a good
I have
idea.
no problem just putting a buffer and putting it on interactive. I can talk to Teresa a little bit more about that.
Okay. Yeah,
That'd be great.
That sounds good.
Do you think it would be helpful to do both a 25-foot and a 100-foot buffer?
Yeah, so the 25-foot one does really apply universally. That's the EPD requirement. But yes, for Mountain and River Corridor Protection Act, that one's 100 feet just from that one area. So maybe we could have a separate action, or maybe it's apply standard buffers, and then river corridor 100-foot buffers where
Gotcha.
applicable.
Okay. The part where it's for what is applicable, is there,
Yeah.
do you have, if you can send me information on that, that would be helpful.
Sure.
Yeah. that'd be
Absolutely.
great. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Thank you.
Great. Develop drainage and stormwater management program to increase retention, treatment, and quality of stormwater. Utilize natural solutions such as tree planting and stream restoration.
So that one is underway. That stormwater master plan.
Right, so that's underway at the county, and I guess the department would be. sort of
Kristen, is
third-
that one like a universally spread across everyone, and it applies also for the cities?
Yeah, it is. So they've got the outside consultants, and then they've got another consultant that's kind of managing the consultant, and you've got purchasing and public works and everything involved.
Yeah, I know. I knew Allison was working on it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So it does cut across for everyone, really?
Yeah.
I think
so.
she's saying for the departments, but not necessarily with the cities. It's a county project.
Right. Yeah, so they're
Yeah, the
doing like,
city-
go ahead,
Oh,
sorry.
So I know Guyton has been looking at grants and things like that, and I know they have had us working on hotspots and doing some proposals in that nature. So I believe it's probably just going to be admin and then us and an outside consultant for Guyton.
Okay. Increase public awareness of wetland and flood zone sensitivity, and increase public awareness of the hazards of buying or developing in a flood zone.
I would think that would be all municipalities.
Yeah, I think that's in all of us.
Yeah, and I know they've made some flyers in the planning and zoning department that they've got outside of development services already for hazards of flood zone information.
Awesome. That's great. So, Lindsay, that one would be everybody, planning and zoning departments, and ongoing.
Awesome, thanks.
Adopt DCA criteria for wetland protections.
I think that would be everybody as well, right? We all have wetlands, don't we?
Yes.
I agree.
That
And-
DCA is what now again?
Oh, the Department of Community Affairs. The Georgia's Department of Community Affairs.
Okay.
I would say that's P&Z for the county.
Awesome. Thank you. Pursue smart growth initiatives.
I mean, everybody, I think. I know Springfield certainly is trying to do that.
Absolutely. And that should be through everybody's development services departments.
Yes.
Create a code enforcement division. So I believe some of y'all have a code enforcement division already, and some of y'all do not. Is that correct?
Yeah, county does.
Yeah, Springfield does.
I know Guyton and Rankin do as well.
Oh, okay. So everybody has a code enforcement division then. So this is no longer relevant.
Or it's completed, right?
Completed, right. So we will remove that and add it to our completed list. I believe this is our last one. Conduct periodic exercises to evaluate support function responsibilities.
That is going to fall under emergency management. Well, it's actually it's everybody, but it's going to be coordinated through EMA.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so done with that. Let's go over a few general update things. We just want to remind you all that the timeline has been extended, and that's so that we can make sure that everybody adopts the most recent firms. Hopefully that's ongoing now. It'll give us a little more time for a more detailed flood modeling analysis in conjunction with the University of Georgia, and it gives us a little bit more time for coordination and review of the draft plan.
I
The
would
draft.
just make a quick note. Sorry, I apologize for interrupting, Anna. I just
That's
want to note really quickly for Pam that the Coastal Regional Commission is actually running HAZIS for UGA in this circumstance, and Wincy Poon already knew, like, has all your parcel data. So, and she mentioned you directly by name. So we're in good shape on that as soon as they start running it.
Okay, that's good news. Yeah, she has my email.
Yeah, she knew. Thanks.
Great. Okay, we'll run through real quick, just remind you of what the report looks like now. There's 8 sections: introduction, review of the planning process, so the committee meetings, the public engagement, how we developed this plan. 3 is the hazard profiles of every hazard that Effingham County experiences. 4 is the asset inventory. 5 is the vulnerability assessment. 6 is the capabilities assessment, which sort of assesses your current capabilities in regards to staff, administration, technical abilities, what long-range plans do you already have, that sort of thing. 7 goes through all of the mitigation strategies that we've been working to coordinate with you all. And 8 goes over the plan evaluation and maintenance of the plan. We will be sending out these draft chapters for review very soon, hopefully by the end of the week. So watch for an email from us or from Clint letting you know if you need to help review one of these chapters. The more eyes we have on these chapters, the better. So if you would like to be part of a review team for any of these chapters in particular, let us know or let Clint know. We'll be happy to send you the draft and get your feedback. Additionally, you'll be receiving an action item spreadsheet for review in the next couple of days, and there'll be some blanks in there in regards to how much each action item might cost, and we'll need your help filling in those blanks. Lindsay, did you have anything you wanted to add about that?
Nope, I think you covered it.
Okay, cool. And then lastly, keep an eye on your email. We are coming down the home stretch here, and we just have a few more things that we'll need y'all's help for while we get this wrapped up. And last but not least, there will be another public meeting to review the draft plan. That date is TBD. So please stay tuned for more information about that as well. But like I said, this is our last meeting, and we are approaching the finish line, and we are so grateful for all of your help along the way. And keep your eyes peeled for emails from us or from Clint regarding review chapters. Review will need to be done by both the cities and the county. So we will hopefully have those chapters out to you very soon. And that's all we have today. So does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns?
I would just add that when we have the results of the hazards software modeling from the Coastal Regional Commission and the University of Georgia, if we need to make any tweaks when we see that, we'll have the opportunity to talk about that again. But that's really what's going to determine when we are able to get all the way over this finish line and present a draft, because that modeling really does need to be complete. And for their original estimate, of time was probably in the neighborhood of 3 months. We think we did a lot of the work ahead of time to populate the spreadsheets that they needed. And like we just talked about, they have all the parcel level data and the appraisal information apparently. So hopefully we'll be in good shape and it won't take a whole 3 months. But if there's a lag time in hearing from us, that's what's going on in the background. We're waiting for those results.
Yes, thank you, Jeannie. They won't impact every chapter, so we're gonna try and get all the chapters that we can out to you guys for review and get those polished up. And then the chapters that we need that has this data for, they might be a little ways down the line. But yeah, that's all.
The one other thing for the group is, and I think we mentioned this before, is that what we'll be sending out is primarily text, and then we've got a graphics team with specialty knowledge of hazard mitigation plans that's going to help us make this really look nice and easy to understand, and have a hopefully a really nice preface and executive summary at the front. So we appreciate it. It'll be more text heavy, what you see first, but we'll be transforming that.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for your time today. And as always, we're always available. So reach out if there's anything we can do for you or if you have any questions. Other than that, we appreciate your time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank y'all.